come true. Her beloved but deteriorating home of 27 years receives new fencing, tree trimming, and a much-needed paint job.
I'm on a fixed income, and I know what it is to be a community servant, and so I see this as a blessing and God's way of blessing me for doing his work.
Beeman can also thank the Spectrum Housing Assist program, an effort by cable company Charter Communications to repair homes of retired seniors who still volunteer in religious or civic groups. Around 75 Charter volunteers spent the day renovating 3 homes in Baldwin Hills, and similar spruce-ups are on the way for low-income households nationwide.
We have a goal of reaching 25,000 homes, improving 25,000 homes by 2020. So we're here today to help people in their homes, to help distribute some kits, some safe and healthy home kits. And we're really excited as Charter and Spectrum to be out here and helping people to improve their lives by providing some resources and having our employees out engaging with the local families and helping families get better.
They also gave away 250 safe and healthy home kits filled with LED light bulbs, weather sealant, and other home care products to area families.
We think all companies ought to be involved in the communities that they do business in similar ways. It means a tremendous amount. The cost of building materials is high. Codes are constantly changing and technology is improving. And so keeping your house up to date with all the modern retrofits and safety measures is a big task. And so to get some help from a company like Charter is a big deal.
I didn't know what they were going to be able to do, or even if my application would be accepted, but they accepted it, and they're doing even more than I anticipated.
Giving back to the givers, homeowners in need. In Baldwin Hills, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The group Rebuilding Together also helped with the spruce-ups. If you need assistance, you can find criteria and application information on this website, spectrumhousingassist.com. Well, you see them in other big cities, but never in LA, until now. A subterranean passageway connecting businesses with rail. Gil Reyes has more from downtown's financial district with LA's very first. Gil.
Well, Yana, we are here at 7th Street Metro Center Station, the second busiest transit stop in all of Los Angeles, but also the first to link retail to rail via an underground pedestrian tunnel. You can see it right here. This is taking cues from other big transit cities like New York and Chicago.
Metro board members tear down the wall to reveal an underground passageway connecting the Metro Red Line to the popular Block shopping complex. This new, short, walkable tunnel is convenient for Ashley Hart.
What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I mean, I work down here, and it's very close to me, so I do think that it's a great way to get there as opposed to going through the rain today.
That's because until now, riders getting off at 7th Street Metro Center had no choice but to cross, on this day, a very rainy 7th Street to enter the Block Plaza, home to LA Fitness, Macy's, other stores and restaurants. With a shorter, underground option also available for Metro riders, this 25-foot-long tunnel is expected to ease foot traffic at the agency's second busiest stop, second only to Union Station. Actor and Metro rider Ed Begley Jr. plans to use it.
I know I use transit a lot. I came here today on the Metro, of course. I live in Studio City, so it's very easy to hop on the subway, and I got my senior pass, so it's 35 cents to get here. Oh no, it's peak right now. Peak hour, I paid a whopping 75 cents. So they make it affordable to seniors, make it affordable to a lot of people that take more people, more miles than any other transit system in the world.
And not too far from now, we'll also see a streetcar running along the corridor. Once again, thanks to our partners and support from the Metro Board and voters who assisted us with $200 million to approve through Measure M.
Helping to make downtown transit easier. In the financial district, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Cost of the passageway is just over $9 million, paid for by LA Metro and the Block. Well, what would bring hundreds of visitors to an event high on a hilltop of a former landfill? Well, we have a hint. The topic is hot and smelly. Anna Marcos takes us to the U.S. Composting Council conference at Lopez Canyon.
Let's talk manure. Composted manure, that is. The U.S. Composting Council is holding the largest conference of its kind as city agencies and machine manufacturers from all over the country meet in L.A.'s backyard at the Lopez Canyon Environmental Center for a day of exhibits and workshops on composting, mulching, and tree recycling.
Gives us a chance to sit down and talk and collaborate with each other of what's the best practices for mulching and the landfill for compost diversion and material.
Here you will find about 30 of the most high-tech compost-making machines in the industry. They will make it, grind it, screen it, and turn it to make the best compost money can buy. Actually, the city of LA gives away this compost for free.
It's all free at our giveaway sites. There's 11 different giveaway sites all over the city, and it's for all the residents to pick up. They can load it in bags, shovel it themselves, and with pitchforks or shovels, and pickup truck beds or however they want to haul it.
The city of LA, like others around the country, is fast learning to practice cleaner, greener ways. As landfills fill up, it is turning more and more of its garbage, tree trimmings, manure, and food waste into energy to put back into the earth. This site, the Lopez Canyon Environmental Center, is a former landfill, but compost and mulch now dot the landscape instead of garbage.
So if you took that, instead of putting it in a landfill and you compost it, right, you're putting it back into a solution that goes back into the ground. It makes the soil, basically gives the soil life. Without organic matter in the soil, you wouldn't have any life. You'd have sand, you'd have clay. This material people view as useless is really an untapped resource that needs to go back into the earth where it started from.
And now the mulch and compost experts will go back to their home turf armed with newer, better ways to turn manure, garbage, and tree trimmings into food for the earth. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For more information on compost and mulch giveaway sites, visit lacitysand.org. Well, it's not just a community space. It's a work of art designed by one of LA's most iconic architects. But you may not think so looking at it now. That's why folks in Eagle Rock are on a mission to bring it back to its former glory. Gil Reyes reports.
So anyways, Charlie, I think we need to start by sandblasting all this wood. I agree. What do you think?
Jeremy Levine and Charlie Clark love coming here to Eagle Rock Recreation Center with their families, but are saddened by its current state. Cracked and fading walls, just part of the problem.
And I'm like, we have to do something about this. We can't just let it go. And so I called my friend Jeremy, and we started talking to the city, talking to Parks and Rec.
The two are negotiating with the city to restore the center to its original look. A sleek, modernist masterpiece built by renowned LA architect Richard Neutra in 1953. The pair have sought the advice of Neutra's son and business partner, Dion Neutra.
Of course, I said I'm absolutely willing. I was the project architect on this building originally, and it's like my baby. In my will, I state that after my death, I would like to see a memorial service held in that building.
Neutra says his dad's intention was to blend sunlight, open space, and innovation to create not just a community space, but a signature Neutra artwork, too. He wants these gray columns installed by the city removed and the old reflective pool restored. The group also wants the return of the original wide windows. The city later blocked them, either partially or totally, to help prevent shattering from vandals.
All of those plywood windows can become glass again. All of those windows that are just gone because people were afraid they'd get smashed can come back, and all the light comes back in the space, and that's the idea.
But what if they get smashed again?
Well, it's a great question. You know what it is? It's a risk we have to take for a great building. Like if we decide every great building is going to get covered in plywood and bars, then we'll always have this kind of architecture that isn't what it could be.
These school kids from Eagle Rock agree.
It's very cultural and emotional to the people around. People come to walk their dogs, and it's nice. It'll be nice to come here and see it remodeled back to our history.
And the group isn't yet sure exactly how much those refurbishments would cost. However, they do estimate they would run at least $500,000. as the search for funding sources is set to begin. At the Eagle Rock Recreation Center, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Now, the group is considering a GoFundMe project and is reaching out to conservancy groups to raise money for restoration. Well, over in Hollywood, the Made in Hollywood honors may not have as much cachet as the Oscars, but they help honor movies that make Tinseltown what it is, the movie capital of the world. Anna Marco shows us nothing beats a movie made in La La Land.
It's so LA, and that's just how Tinseltown types want it. The Made in Hollywood Honors Red Carpet Awards help celebrate this year's Oscar-nominated movies filmed right here in LA.
Honestly, I think the city of Los Angeles should have got a third Oscar nomination because they really were the star of La La Land.
City of stars, are you shining just for me?
Yep, LA's namesake movie, La La Land, which provided a little dance and musical interlude, takes top honors at this event. It's made in LA, it boasts a phenomenal 14 Oscar nominations, and it hired thousands of Angelino cast and crew members. The opening freeway scene alone used more than 1,000 actors.
And we really have to thank the city of Los Angeles and Caltrans for working together with us to make that possible. We got to rehearse for a half a day, and then we came back and shot for 48 hours, not straight, but closed the freeway, I should say, for 48 hours.
People actually contact me now to talk about film permitting because they saw the freeway scene at the very beginning of La La Land.
Other films that clinched the Made in Hollywood Honors Award, Zootopia and Moana. Both are up for Best Animated Feature Oscars, and both hired between 600 to 800 cast and crew members.
And this is a place where possibilities are endless.
And maybe this award will bring the honorees good luck. Since 2011, 5 of the honorees have gone on to win Oscars. Films like Argo, The Artist, and Frozen. One of the things that made a difference in the films getting produced in LA was California's film tax incentives, which aim at curbing runaway production.
We now not only have so many more producers working, but as Jane said, people get to go home and sleep in their own beds with their families.
We want to make it easy for people to shoot here, and we're just thrilled to be a part of this.
Tens of thousands of people are engaged with employment, and it's so important for Los Angeles to support the film industry.
The hope for many is that more and more productions come back to their Tinseltown roots and get the Made in Hollywood stamp. Hollywood's film industry creates 500,000 jobs here. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
And each summer, the Made in Hollywood Honors also recognizes Emmy-nominated TV productions made in California. Well, local artists are also making a name for themselves as they take part in a politically themed exhibition, the first from downtown's popular art walk since major changes in the White House. Gil Reyes shows us.
This exhibition at downtown LA Art Walk is largely inspired by President Trump.
A lot of people felt really sad after the election, and they're channeling their emotions through their art.
The exhibition, entitled We the People, features the works of 17 local artists. Race and immigration are common themes. Artist Ryan Fisher's work depicts Olympian sprinter Tommy Smith, giving a Black Power salute the year he won the gold. Also that same year, the Civil Rights Act became law.
That was 1968, and a lot of that stuff is still being felt today and maybe not even been solved a little bit. So I think it just kind of makes you remember that, yeah, we can call it a triumph, that we kind of eradicated all the racism and stuff like that, but maybe we didn't.
Artist Nisha Cha says she was inspired by recent demonstrations led by women and people of color, many of whom felt insulted by the president's speeches.
And they have their kids on top of their shoulders too, and they're really innocent kids, like they don't know anything, and they're just smiling as I try to put frustration and pain in their eyebrows and in their faces.
I think satire is a good thing because we all need humor. So if we can make fun of what's going on in a clever way, I think that we can make a change.
Art Walk holds one event every month with a different theme.
Art Walk has been around for 12 years, and one of the things we have always prided ourselves
in is diversity. It's one of the things that Art Walk is well known for. We have a lot of emerging artists as well as well-known artists who are very effective when it comes to political expression.
At a time when they have a lot on their minds. From downtown LA Art Walk, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Artwork is held in downtown Los Angeles on the second Thursday of every month. Well, it was a day spent pounding the pavement to honor fallen heroes as the second annual Run to Remember Marathon took off. Anna Marcos takes us to the race course.
They take off in several waves. And it's off to the races as the Run to Remember Marathon hits the streets. The marathon honors law officers and first responders who have died in the line of duty.
I think this is a time in our history when it's important to recognize the sacrifices of cops and firefighters and to remember that they're your neighbors, they're your friends, they're the best of us.
This missing man formation by flying choppers also pays tribute, as do the flag wearers and flag wavers of all stripes.
Today's special. We've lost some in Inglewood. I know every city has fallen officers, so we're here to support.
Every morning when a police officer or firefighter leaves their home, leaves their wife and their children behind, they never know if they're coming home that day.
All told, more than 5,000 are helping raise money for a good cause with this event. Among them, close to 1,000 LAPD officers, more than 400 sheriff's deputies, kids' youth groups, firefighters, park rangers, even cops from as far away as New York.
Of any department, of any badge, really, truly appreciate everybody putting their life on the line to protect us.
And regular citizens are running for personal reasons as well.
This is our second run together, and we're just running for, our mothers. They both had cancer, and, it's special for us because we're running for them.
But many here know that the medal that symbolizes the end of their race also honors the end of watch for those who died in the line of fire. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Runners ran either the half marathon or the full 10K in the event. While the community gathers to mark African American Heritage Month, a busy intersection in Glassell Park just got safer, and a group of young people urged the city to put some resources into their future. All these stories in City Beat. Community members, city officials, and people of all faiths gathered at the AME Church recently for a worship service to commemorate African American Heritage Month.
We've set aside this month to commemorate all the achievements of the many Black people throughout history, from slavery to 2017.
As part of the celebration, civil rights activist Dorothy Height was also honored after being named the 40th U.S. postage stamp in the Black Heritage Forever series.
Dorothy Height's a civil rights icon in America, and it's huge not only to celebrate her life, but she's a historical figure, and we can relive her history through this stamp.
Community members, Council District 13 recently dedicated a street overhaul on Fletcher Drive at Astara Street, adjacent to Irving Middle School in Glassell Park. The improvements include sidewalk rehabilitation, new bike lanes, a new turn lane, and the planting of 140 trees along the street.
The project here just improves the safety for all users of Fletcher Drive, whether you're a cyclist, whether you're in a vehicle, or whether you're a pedestrian.
The LA for Youth campaign gathered at City Hall holding a sign that read, "Love the Youth." The group is calling on city officials to create a youth development department, which would include youth centers, community intervention workers, and help in finding jobs. Members of the campaign shared personal stories and delivered to the Los Angeles City Council a copy of a motion requesting for the department's creation. Well, it's a place to enjoy mouth-watering fusion of ancient native recipes mixed with more modern dishes south of the border. A new restaurant opens its doors near downtown LA, and Marcos takes us there.
El Pueblo de Olvera has a new restaurant on the block. Step into the Chihuacle and you travel to southern Mexico. Wait, hold on, what was that? Chihuacle?
Chihuacle
is a Oaxacan pepper. We make a very special mole with that pepper, chihuacle. This pepper is very special and unique. It starts as a yellow pepper, then red pepper, and then black pepper. So like that pepper, our restaurant is very unique.
And that's not all. The restaurant serves ancestral recipes and flavors from Yucatan, Michoacan, Puebla, and Oaxaca. We already know they serve plenty of mole. These 4 types look pretty good. We also know about enchiladas, but there's a whole lot of other stuff we can't even pronounce. How about some green rice or something? And then there's the nopaltilla.
You will find our nopaltillas ancestrales. That is something new that we have not seen here in Los Angeles. It is a 2-tone tortilla, half nopal, half non-GMO corn.
The restaurant owner wants to combine food, art, and culture and wants you to enjoy it all.
It's a place where you can come to savor the food, enjoy the conversations, talk about your day, put your cell phones down, look at the art, listen to the music.
Chihuacle will form one of the cornerstones of a brand new development in El Pueblo that will feature churches, museums, restaurants, shops, and much more, along with pedestrian-friendly walking streets.
We're really joining the leagues of every other large city in celebration of our roots, of where we began with the pobladores.
So chomp down on a piece of history and enjoy those ancestral flavors. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Chihuacle restaurant is located at 103 Paso de la Plaza in El Pueblo. Well, lace up your running shoes for a good cause. Get up close and personal with all your favorite Harry Potter memorabilia and get your heart racing with some exciting action on the ice. All this in this week's Things to Do. Team Fox is heading to Griffith Park for the first annual Los Angeles Foxtrot 5K for Parkinson's research. Team Fox is the grassroots fundraising arm of the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research. Each year, more than 1,500 Team Fox members worldwide turn their passions and interests into unique fundraising events and athletic feats. Since its inception in 2006, members have raised $15 million for Parkinson's research, helping the organization achieve its mission to speed new treatments and ultimately a cure for Parkinson's disease. Come out and join Team Fox at Griffith Park and run toward a cure on Sunday, March 5th. A new Harry Potter collection illuminates the Hollywood Museum. The museum's new collection of sorcery includes acquisitions from the Harry Potter film franchise, considered among the highest-grossing films of all time. Spotlighted are new items from noted Harry Potter historian Christopher Noel, the ultimate broom used by Harry Potter in the Sorcerer's Stone, and his quill and ink bottle used while at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry enhance the exhibit. Other items also on exhibit are Harry's robe, costumes, signed blueprints of rooms at Hogwarts School, photos, posters, and more. Check it all out at the Hollywood Museum. For more, visit thehollywoodmuseum.com.
And he got checked from behind by Trevor Lewis.
The Los Angeles Kings hit the ice as they face off with the Vancouver Canucks. Check out the fast-paced, heart-pounding action on the ice, root for your favorite players, and get fired up for another season of hard-hitting hockey. The LA Kings take on our friendly northern neighbors for the ultimate rivalry. Don't miss it at the Staples Center on March 4th at 7 p.m. For more, visit nhl.com/kings. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Clean water means playing in green parks. There's more to Garvanza Park than meets the eye. Beneath my feet are big cisterns that collect water from the storm drain when it rains. These clean and capture the stormwater and use them for two things: water this park and recharge the groundwater. That way, we conserve potable water and keep our water sources alive. Oh, and we get a nice green park to enjoy too.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm an Iyengar yoga teacher here in Los Angeles, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35, Our City, Our Channel.
If everyone could please take their seats. Shh. If everyone could please take their seats. Want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Hall. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Public is welcome. Madam Clerk, at this time, we don't have a quorum, but we can begin with the presentation portion of today's agenda. So I'm going to call on Mr. Buscaino to see if you'd like to lead things off.
Come join us. Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. In a bit, we will soon honor one of our heroes from LA Fire Station 33, Bryce Gutierrez. But today, at this moment, we will honor from Station Channel 5, Gail Anderson, declaring in the city of Los Angeles, Gail Anderson Day. A true, come here, Gail. A true Los Angeles icon. Colleagues, you know, when we see news trucks come to our respective districts, immediately we think of hard news, negative news, dealing with the crime issues that face our city. But when Gail Anderson emerges out of the KTLA news van, we know something good is happening in our districts. Gail Anderson has been reporting for KTLA 5 Morning News since 1993, and in that time has become a viewer favorite because of her enthusiastic, participatory style of reporting on unique and interesting stories throughout the Southern California region. Gail has made mornings in Los Angeles fun, refreshing, and memorable. And who can forget her segment in Santa Monica, where she got multiple parking tickets live on TV? And who can forget Super Gail during the opening of Superman Escape from Krypton at Magic Mountain, or participating in Red Bull's Flugtag event, and ziplining and skydiving and hydro biking. So Gail, during her morning segments, have made us laugh, made us cry, and sometimes made us cringe based on her live action shots. So my favorite Gail moment are those moments in my district. Gail has covered whale watching on Harbor Breeze cruises with Captain Dan Salas out of the Port of LA, and I was honored to be with her as she covered the arrival of the world's largest rubber duck during our Tall Ships Festival at the LA waterfront. She has even covered pet Pilates in Harbor City, and I believe with her partnership with Jonathan Williams at the Battleship Iowa, she may even have a room in the battleship itself because she is a great partner of the Battleship Iowa. She has featured so many stories promoting pet adoption and supporting No Kill LA, National Dog Day, and many more. Even this morning, we were at the Superior Grocers in Watts promoting World Spay Day here in the city of Los Angeles. Gail has done so much for the animal community, has really embraced and helped promote World Spay Neutering Day throughout this entire region. And for this, we not only honor her recognition and her commitment to sharing the good stories, but also her love for animals and the ever-growing homeless animal population that we're struggling with throughout the city, throughout this region. So she began her career in ABC Radio News and at WABC TV in New York as an intern, worked her way up as a field producer, and she's a recipient of 16 Emmy Awards. Most recently, Gail earned an Emmy in 2014 for her work on the KTLA Morning News, and hosting the KTLA's Heal the Bay special reports earned Gail an Emmy in 2011. In 2010, her work on KTLA's Tournament of Roses Parade pre-show garnered Gail another Emmy, as well as her reporting in 2009 on the tragic death of Michael Jackson. Television in Los Angeles would not be the same without Gail Anderson and KTLA Morning News. So, during this morning's live broadcast in Watts, and you'll soon hear from Joey Herrick on promoting World Spay Day, we surprised her, and thanks to your help, Council President Herb Wesson, we made the we're making the declaration official here in full City Council and declaring February 28th, 2017 as Gail Anderson Day in the city of Los Angeles. So thank you to Gail. Thank you for your contributions to our great city and throughout cities across the Southern California region. Again, we want to recognize your contributions. And before we turn the mic over to mark this very special occasion, I'd like to play a video featuring Gail Anderson doing what she loves best.
Miss Gail is everything in the newsroom. Everyone loves Gail.
We call her kind of the mayor of Los Angeles. When we do parades or anything, people always are like, Gail, Gail, Gail.
We couldn't do the show without Gail Anderson.
And what she has done, and I admire it tremendously, is she has earned this place in the community that I don't think anybody else has.
Gail is game to do anything.
Gail Anderson, oh!
Woo! Flying!
Gail is absolutely interwoven with the fabric of LA.
Go, go, go! You can do it! Track and field is underway here.
This is part of our Take 5 to Care program.
Put the toys under the tree. Is that right, gentlemen?
Yes, ma'am.
Hurrah!
It's a fundraiser for the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Put on something pink.
So we're going to thank all of you who have adopted and show you who have all the babies who have homes and the babies who need homes. All right? Party on the pier!
Party.
Who let the dogs out?
To bring awareness of the fact that there's too many pets, the euthanasia rates are sky high, and you got to spay and neuter your pets.
Gail, congratulations. This is such a well-deserved honor. Gail does so much in our community and puts the spotlight on folks who really deserve it.
And we know how much Gail Anderson loves animals.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Gail. Mwah.
I've been here long enough to know that before Gail Anderson joined us at KTLA, she was on a TV show called Now It Can Be Told. And now it can be told that Gail Anderson absolutely deserves this honor. The whole community and all of us appreciate you so very much.
Congratulations to you, Gail. And one of the amazing things about what you do is many of us sometimes localize ourselves in our own community and help in that area. But you have just encompassed all of Southern California. You deserve it. Congratulations.
Gail, we know how much you love animals, and we appreciate all the work that you do. No one deserves this honor more than you. Congratulations.
Wow. Gail Anderson Day.
What a well-deserved honor. We are so proud. Thank you, Gail, for all that you do for our community. Once again, congratulations.
So, colleagues, help me welcome to say a few words, KTLA News Director and Vice President.
You know what, Mr.
Yes,
Buscaino?
Mr. President.
I have to stop you before Gail speaks and say that some people just have this special way of connecting that's just unique, and that's what she has. When you watch the film and you see the people respond to her, that's just genuine. Yeah. And if you ever had the opportunity to go to an event where maybe she is the MC, then it is going to be a rocking and rolling, enjoyable just time. So she's a treasure in that she's just real. Right. And I think that's what comes across. Yes. When you see her, you think about the lady across the street or your sister or your aunt. You think about somebody that you would enjoy to just sit down and have a cup of coffee with. She is just real. And I will just say this, since this is not on television or anything, there was one event where she was the MC, Mr. Buscaino, and there was an opportunity to have a date with Halle Berry. I bid on the date, and she said, Herb, just called me out in front of everybody else. So I didn't win, and I'm still happily married. I probably owe that to Gail. But she is a treasure. Yeah. And what she does for the animals, given that this council is very pro-animal, and I know it means a lot to me, it means a lot to other members. You, Gail, you really deserve this, and I think all of us, this is a special moment for all of us to honor someone who truly does deserve it. So congratulations on your day.
All right. So, colleagues, help me welcome KTLA's Vice President Jason Ball to say a few words. Jason.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, President, for the kind words you said about our Aunt Gail. I think thank you for all of it, to honor her for everything that we've known about her for all these years. And I have truly never met, in the 25 years I've been doing this, never met anyone like Gail Anderson. The first time we were out in public together, we were at the Special Olympics, and it took us 45 minutes to go right across the lawn in Long Beach there because everybody had to stop and talk to Aunt Gail, and we all love her and appreciate everything she does. She's not easy, I'll give you that, but she's usually right, and we call it out, we work it out, and we do the right thing, right, Gail?
Yes, sir.
I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do for us.
Thank you, Jason.
Keep going.
All right. And help me welcome Joey Herrick from Lucy Pet Foundation to say a few words on World Spay Day here in throughout the country.
Well, Gail is always, whenever I call her to help on World Spay Day, she's always there. She's always there to help with any animals. And two stories with Gail. I called her once to come to our office. I said, I have some very interesting animals. It's going to be a great segment. And she didn't really know what she was getting herself into, but she came to the office, and she walked into the office, and I had a 550-pound Bengal tiger sitting there. And Gail goes, she got really wide-eyed. I said, no, she's really friendly. Her name's Asia, and all you got to do, I handed her a baby bottle. I said, all you got to do is feed her milk, and she'll be very content. And so Gail did this segment and fed that tiger, the baby milk, and it was very funny. And another segment I'll never forget, and most of her fans will never forget this too, is we were in a restaurant, and I had dog food that you can actually eat, canned dog food. It was really made in a human plant. It was really very good. I used to eat it for lunch. So we're sitting at the table, and we have dogs there, and Gail and I are sitting there with Dick Van Patten, and we're eating the dog food. And Gail goes, this is very good. And then the anchor back in the studio says, the dogs aren't using spoons. So Gail put down her spoon, and she put her face flat in that bowl and came up covered in dog food and said, this is really good, and went back in again. So Gail Anderson is a trooper and will do anything. It was the hobo chili, yes. And it was amazing, and it's terrific to work with her. Whether it's the Rose Parade floats and getting her to surf or do whatever thing, she's just always there to cover the story and also to cover animals. And so I can't thank her enough for all the work that you do for animals.
Thank you, Joey, and all the work that you do with Lucy Pet Foundation. And lastly, our General Manager of Animal Services, Brenda Barnett, who will share with us the importance of our true City of Los Angeles partnership with our partners, Lucy Pet Foundation, on World Spay Day, and, of course, honoring our beloved Gail Anderson. Ms. Barnett.
Thank you very much, Council Member. And thank you, Council, for all the support that you give for spay neuter and for the animals in LA. Our partnership with Lucy Pet Foundation is amazing. Not only do they spay and neuter all over the city, but they dream up this kind of publicity that gets the word out and helps us do even more. And most often, it's with Gail Anderson. This is about the fourth time just this year that you've done your broadcast for the animals, and for that we are exceedingly grateful. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, on a Gail Anderson Day, help me welcome Gail Anderson from KTLA Morning News.
Thank you. I really don't know what to say other than thank you. Thank you so much. But I don't deserve this. The people who deserve this, some of them you see here today, some of them are behind the cameras that are here. To quote country western singer Brad Paley, I'm a turtle on the fence. You see me on the fence, you got to wonder, how'd that happen? Well, there are lots of people who hold me up on that fence every day, from our assignment editors to the writers at the station, to the production assistants who work with me, to KTLA management. You have no idea the stuff they let me get away with. No. You have no idea. When they should say no, they say yes, and then we do it, and at the end of the day we think, whew, that was a good idea. But this can't happen. This can't happen unless you work with a company and for a company that says, let's try something different. We're a little nervous, trying not to lose the license, but we'll go for it. But there's so many people to thank. The other people we have to thank are the people who get up. We show up on location at 5:30 in the morning. If Joey and his crew or whomever, we're working on the LA Marathon right now with the official charities. That's why I was talking to the firefighters. We're working on a piece with the widows, orphans, and disabled firefighters. Oh, you're going to see them tomorrow, Thursday. If they don't get up, I got nothing. If the cameramen don't feel like it, I'm print. I'm radio. So all this is wonderful, and I'm certainly shocked and surprised. And when I took that last flight out of New York to come out here, I certainly didn't think that this would be on the radar. But I learned that Los Angeles likes to see me cry a lot. The torch run for the Salt Lake Olympics, we carried the torch through Los Angeles. Y'all had me bawling on that. You had me crying this morning. And I'm sure Jason and the crew can think of some other stuff. But I just want to say thank you, but you have to thank all these people. You have to thank everybody in Southern California. Project Angel Food. They got up 5:30 in the morning and fired up a kitchen so we could talk about what they were doing for the holidays for meals to raise money. I can't do this by myself. I don't do this by myself. So I'm blessed to know lots of people who are willing to take a chance on some crazy chick from a local TV station. And I appreciate them all, and I appreciate you. And thank you. Thank you.
Gail Anderson Day, City of Los Angeles. Let's get a quick photo. Here it is, Mr. President. Get a quick photo. Look at Sherry. Come on, come on, come on. All right. Come on, you. Come on, come on, come on. Come on.
Where's that Jason?
Jason's right here. All right, Jason. Big smiles.
Come on, doctor. Come on, doctor. Come on, doctor. They can't see you.
Yes, come on, doctor.
I'm going short.
There you go.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll go in the back as well.
Let's give her one more round of applause. Thank you so very much. Well, Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Could you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Harris-Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikoran, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Ms. Martinez moves. Mr. Rue seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Cedillo moves, and Mr. Blumenfield seconds. Continue.
Mr. President, today is Tuesday and time for the flag salute.
Okay, if I could ask everyone to please rise. We'll be led in our flag salute today by Mr. Mike Bonin.
If everybody could please place their hands over their heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all. Mr. President, I'd just like to note for the record that I believe that was Mr. Herman who was disrupting the pledge.
Yeah, I do want to thank you, Mr. Bonin, and everybody please sit down. Mr. Herman, one more disruption and you'll be asked to leave. Let's continue going through the agenda.
Mr. President, there are requests to continue items 1B and 1O for 3 weeks to March 21st and item 5 for 60 days to April 28th.
Okay, so without objection, that'll be the order.
The Department of Building and Safety recommends that the following items be received and filed. 1C, as the property has been determined to be exempt due to ownership change. 1M, as the lien has been paid in full. 1J, as the initial fee has been paid and late fees rescinded. And 1L, as the lien has been rescinded.
Okay, so without objection, so ordered.
Additionally, the Department of Building and Safety recommends that the lien amount on item 1A be reduced to $16,746.69 due to receipt of partial payment.
Okay, so without objection, continue.
Items 1 through 3 are items noticed for public hearing.
Do you have cards on these items?
Yes, cards on all items.
Okay, continue. We'll hold those items and please continue.
Items 4 through 9 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay, on this item 5, I want to continue until April 28th. Any other specials, members? Mr. Rue?
Can we hold item number 4 on the desk pending an amending motion?
We'll
and
hold-
also, if I can hold number 6.
4 and 6. Okay, let's prepare then to vote on the remaining items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Continue, please.
Items 10 through 13 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do we have cards?
Yes, there are cards on all items.
Okay, then let's move on. That brings us where?
That takes council back to presentations or public comment.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to recognize Mr. Harris Dawson for a presentation. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair and members. It is a very joyous and serious occasion that I stand before you today as we recognize one of many of the true angels that make up what we call the City of Angels. On January 16th this year, at about 11 o'clock in the evening, at 861 West Manchester Avenue in the Vermont Square neighborhood of the 8th District, there was a call to a resident, older housing, multifamily housing unit next to a very old single-family dwelling, sandwiched in between an industrial use and an automotive use. Our fire department got a call to this address. Under the leadership of our battalion chief, Eric Talamantes, 90 firefighters from stations 33, 57, 64, and 66 quickly sprinted towards the home, which was engulfed in flames with hose lines and ladders. In their initial approach, as they arrived at the location, there were bystanders standing by, screaming that people were still inside the house as it was burning. That evening, firefighter Bryce Gutierrez, hearing the cries of the folks standing by, went around the house, and like so many of our houses in South LA, almost every window had bars on it. Eventually, he was able to work his way to the rear of the residence and find a window that didn't have bars, and without the benefit of any tools or a hose line, he was able to make his way into the house while it was burning and find 4 individuals trapped inside the burning house. Inside the home were 4 babies, a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old. Because of his heroic effort, he was able to get all 4 of the babies, get them out of the house and to safety, and they all survived the fire that night. We appreciate firefighter Bryce Gutierrez because protocol didn't demand that he jump through that window. He had no idea who was in the house or what their condition was. He made quick work of it and did it in such a valiant and gallant way. One of the babies had actually already had heart surgery and was breathing in smoke. And he was still able to get them out of the house quickly enough so that they could get to safety. I'm happy to report all 4 children are doing well. 2 of them remain in the hospital, but we expect them to recover in a speedy and complete fashion and get back on with their lives thanks to the great heroic work of this firefighter. So I want to thank all the men and women who came from the various stations today to allow us Angelenos, on behalf of every resident, business owner, traveler, tourist, and everybody, to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all that you do. Let's give them all a big round of applause. We're happy today that our firefighters are joined by our chief, Chief Terrazas. I want to give him an opportunity to say a few words on behalf of our fire department.
Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, sir. Council President Wesson, Councilmember Harris-Dawson, members of the City Council, thank you for having us here today. The men and women that stand behind me represent Task Force 33, Task Force 64, Engine 64, Engine 57, and Battalion 13. They responded to the fire where that incident occurred. We are here to recognize what many consider to be an act of uncommon bravery. But if you ask a firefighter, they'll just say they're just doing their job. Every day we train for situations just like this one. In fact, our training motto is train as if your life depends on it, because it does. In this case, the lives of 4 young kids depended on it. The heroic actions of firefighter Gutierrez exemplify what the LAFD is all about. We are willing to risk everything to save a human life, and we take calculated risks to save property. The key is to know the difference. And on that night in January, Bryce knew the difference. Without question, firefighter Gutierrez did great work, as did more than 90 firefighters who were on scene that night. Each firefighter and paramedic had a job to do, and each did so flawlessly, working as a team. That's why I'm extremely proud of our firefighters and paramedics for the work that they do every day. I must thank Mayor Garcetti, this City Council, our Fire Commission, for your unwavering budgetary support in providing the LAFD with the necessary training, tools, and apparatus to do our jobs. The actions of the LAFD on January 16th further validate what I've always believed, that we are truly blessed to have the world's finest fire department in the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
And our firefighters are also joined today by the leadership of UFLAC, who represent all the brothers and sisters that fight for us every day as a part of LAFD. Mr. Tony Gamboa, let's welcome him.
Thank you. Well, this is about Bryce and everybody that's standing behind me here that responded that night on the 16th for their heroic efforts. It was a team effort, so let's give them all a hand there. I want to say that these types of rescues happen all the time in Los Angeles, where we go on more than 460,000 emergency calls for service every year. I'll just keep it brief here. The United Firefighters of Los Angeles City are proud to call you, Bryce, one of our own. Thanks again.
So, Bryce, we've got a commendation for you. that we want to present to you on behalf of the full Los Angeles City Council, the mayor, the city attorney, and all the elected officials. But maybe it's going to take us as much nerve as it did that night. Before we give this to you, we're going to ask you to say a few words to the city of Los Angeles.
Okay, I just want to say thank you for everyone's support. It's an honor to be recognized. Like Chief said, this is what we do. This is our job. LA City holds a high standard and reputation, specifically the stations and all the firefighters that stand behind me. So I just want to give thanks to my crew at Task Force 33B, Task Force 66 and 64, and Engine 57. You couldn't do it with these guys' help, so thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. For Bryce Gutierrez. Thank you all so much.
All right, Mr. Weezar, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, everyone. It is a great pleasure today to recognize an organization that has been a true champion for those in our city experiencing homelessness. Homeless Healthcare LA has devoted itself to our most vulnerable residents, people suffering from homelessness and poverty, mental illness, and drug addiction. Since 1986, Homeless Healthcare LA has offered compassion and services to more than 170,000 men and women and children. And today, we celebrate the 30th anniversary of Homeless Healthcare LA. Let's give them a big round of applause. Congratulations. This organization provides a comprehensive range of services from housing navigation to counseling and holistic health care. In Council District 14, just a few blocks here from City Hall, people can visit the doctor, exchange contaminated needles, take yoga classes, and get fresh clothing. It's a place that cares for both the mind and the body without judgment, and it's a reminder that those experiencing homelessness need a wide range of support and resources in order to stabilize and get off the street. Homeless Healthcare LA also expands its support to other agencies and service providers by providing training and education on harm reduction. This type of collaboration is helping the city provide homeless services in the city's jail right here on Los Angeles Street. And thanks in part to their advocacy, the LAPD is right now equipping its officers with an antidote that will save the lives of those overdosing on heroin. And every life they can save in an emergency moment is one more life we can save for a lifetime and help people escape the stranglehold of addiction. We are proud to welcome to City Hall members of Homeless Healthcare LA's current and former board and staff, people who dedicate themselves daily to the work of helping others. We have with us today, amongst others, Samantha Martinez, president of the board and lobbyist with Kindle Gagan, Gail Kennard, former president of the board, current commissioner for the city's Cultural Heritage Commission, Pat Thompson, Facilities and Information Technologies Director, Stephanie Campos, Executive Administrative Programs Manager, and Heather Edney, Development and Communications Director. We also want to give a special acknowledgement to the Executive Director of Homeless Healthcare LA, Mark Casanova, who is also celebrating a 30th anniversary with the organization. Mark Casanova began as a case manager 30 years ago, and it has truly become a life's work. He has dedicated himself to improving the lives of the poor and suffering in Los Angeles, and for that we are eternally thankful. We are also proud to have one of Homeless Healthcare LA's founders with us, Jean, and if I could pronounce this correctly, Boutellier. Was that pretty close? Good. That was pretty good. Okay. Jean has dedicated himself to others as a community organizer and an advocate for those who need the most support in our city. We want to, at this time, acknowledge Jean for his tremendous work, for being one of the founders and visionaries, and we could ask him to step up and say a few words. Jean?
30 years ago, things were not great as more and more of our people were unable to keep a roof over their head. The huge increase was not just individual personal problems, not just economic dislocations. We faced a reactionary pushback against war and poverty and Great Society social policies. The number of homeless people were rapidly expanding in our community, and so street-level advocates and leaders from community action and legal rights and public health and our faith-based religious groups poured on pressure for more interventions. Now, back then, unlike today, city and county and state and federal governments and neighborhood stakeholders did a whole lot of blaming and shaming and saying that somebody else ought to accept more responsibility. The U.S. Conference of Mayors, halfway through Tom Bradley's 20 years as our mayor, prodded two foundations into a collaboration. They invited 50 cities to compete, with 18 to be winners. A delegation came to look at our proposal. A lot of groups collaborated to make the proposal. That group then, the New York advocates for decision-making as who was going to get the grant, were taken from here out on a little tour to the blocks east of City Hall. When they came back into the mayor's conference room, some of those New York professional advocates told Deputy Mayor Grace Davis they thought we'd hired Hollywood extras to pose as homeless. They did not believe, those New Yorkers, that we had what we had in live, living color on the streets of Los Angeles. They thought we were fake news. They thought we were cheating them. And now in the news every day there are celebrity politicians from New York who still don't get reality. Today we got the grant. Wonderful, compassionate professionals like Mark are still with the agency decades later. They got the work going very quickly. This demonstration project made a huge difference nationally. HBO and Comic Relief, and later Hands Across America, raised consciousness and money for the projects and their new coordinating council. Robin Williams stood right here at this microphone and gave a press conference in which he gave a check from Comic Relief to the mayor and said, "You've got to show me 2 forms of identification before I'll give it to you." This group has done wonders in the time that it has had for 30 years to save lives. It helped to create the McKinney Act. The demonstration worked. It was successful, and it led to much better cooperation between the city and the agencies that do this work. Dedicated, effective staff, thousands of people of troubled persons overcoming obstacles, compassionate public officials who have the integrity to serve all their constituents, cooperation between our city and our county, a passion for supporting effective plans to get help and hope for our loved ones living hard lives on the streets of Los Angeles. I want to appreciate Samantha Martinez and Gail Kennard and Michael Lair and Hillary Collier, who are among the board members here, along with the key staff and Executive Director Mark Casanova, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Gene. And now we'll hear from Mark Casanova, who has spent 30 years with Homeless Health Care LA, and let's give him a huge round of applause for his hard work and dedication. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, everyone. I'm not going to say very many words, but I do want to thank my mommy and daddy for actually inspiring me to do selfless work. I really had great role models growing up, so I wish they could join me. They're not, but I'm really, really happy to say to my whole family, this is great. Thank you. It's unexpected. And I actually just stand on the shoulders of some really great people, so the job hasn't been as difficult as one might think, being able to be mentored and helped by great board members, great staff, and great friends and supporters in the community, and absolutely great council support over the years, so thank you. And without further ado, we're going to finish this, Swade. Thank you.
All right. So on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, I'd love to present this resolution to Homeless Healthcare Los Angeles on your 30th anniversary. Congratulations, and thank you for the work you've done to transform and save thousands upon thousands of lives. Congratulations. And Mark, to you for being a great executive director and for committing and dedicating your life for 30 years to this great organization. But it's not only dedicating your life to this organization, but dedicating your life to other people. We really appreciate all the work you've done. On behalf of the City of Los Angeles, here's this resolution thanking you, a small token of our appreciation, thanking you for the work you've done. Thank you. Now let's step right here for some. Come on in.
Get in the middle. Where the borders. There you go.
Thank you. So we're going to step in the back and take some photos in the back of the room. Yeah, you guys want to grab your stuff?
Again, congratulations. Let's give them one more round of applause. Thank you, guys, and thank you, Mr. Weezar. Okay, we'll begin with some of our public comment. I'm going to start with Mr. John Walsh. Mr. Walsh, you have items 1A, 2, 3, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So if Mr. Walsh would please come forward.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dams. There are 2 D's in that. Okay, Building and Safety Department, number 1. Again, you do an excellent job. I've been here since 1976. I'm not one of these old white guys. all a bunch of crooks. You're all a bunch of crooks. I'm not that kind of white guy, although there are plenty of those people still in the city. Number 2 is gang reduction. What a joke. You won't even name the gangs. The Times won't even call them the Crips and the Bloods. They won't even name the gangs because they're so afraid of them. Number 2, you find Crips and Bloods in the Times or up here. In New York, the mob is named Frank Costello. Number 2 and 3, these are vacations. In other words, they're removing a piece of land, usually for a developer, to make it easier for the developer to build. And number 3 is another vacation of public right-of-way. And as you see, there's no cost to the developer. Number 2 and 3, and then we go to 10. This is a promissory note for property. We won't go into it. I don't think it's kosher. Number 11, again, this is vacating a portion of an alley. Highland from Selma, 25 feet. See, the developer goes to these people, makes a huge contribution, and says, give me 25 feet, I need it. And they always get it. And not one of you will vote against it. Not one of you. The only way you can vote against this is yes on S. Number 12 is a standard offer for the DWP outdoor lighting program. This, again, is going to help the developer. Number 13, this consent application and related appeal for the property in Northridge. People in Northridge are more organized than they are in other parts of the city, and they fight over development. That's why Measure S is so popular in the Valley. We have to explain to people that voting for Measure S will not cost jobs. Okay, I'm ready to go into my 1-minute public general.
Can you give him his 1 minute? Thank you.
HollywoodHighlands.org, J. Walsh Confidential. Measure S, yes on S. Go to my website. My website, J. Walsh Confidential, and read about the biggest supporter of Measure S, Dhawan Maharaj, who claims because he has an Indian name that he has no black blood. Well, go take a look. Every black person here, go to my website and take a look at him. He's as black as James Baldwin. He's black, but he hates black people. Everybody who works for him at the Times hate him. He's from Jamaica. He carries a Jamaican passport. He's not from America, and he despises black people and does everything he can to hurt them. Look at him. And I want one black person to get up and say he's not a black man. He's a black man who hates all black people. He's the editor and publisher of the LA Times.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, at this point, let's take up item 6. I know we have people that are here today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off by recognizing Mr. Rue. Mr. Harris Dawson?
My apologies, Mr. Roos, but Mr. Rue, I've got some 5th and 6th graders here from Gerald A. Lawson Academy. They're in the back. I want them to stand and wave.
All right, stand up, kids. Welcome.
Their teachers, Ms. Van Buren, Mr. Taylor, and Mr. Nathan are here, along with parents Karina Marroquin, Clara Sanchez, Roxana Bautista, and our community chair, Virginia Parks. They're here for the last days of our African American History Month celebration. So
all right. Well, anyway, welcome. Okay, with that said, we'll go to Mr. Rue.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, before you today is a very challenging issue. A legend, an icon of film and television, a patriot who called Toluca Lake home since 1939. Bob Hope was not just a film and television star. He and his wife, Dolores, was an integral part of this community. Their house was the spot for Halloween and Christmas. He hosted presidents and Hollywood icons at his home, a combination of both an everyday man and international icon is incredibly rare, nearly extinct in our time. However, the Hope Foundation, led by Linda Hope, opposes the designation. In addition, entities that receive funds and do great work for the foundation also oppose the designation. And Council President, I request that they be given another opportunity to speak today, even though they were given additional time at the Plum Committee. I request that we fairly allocate public comment to 5 minutes in opposition and 5 minutes in support. This is a quasi-legislative action and not an appeal, but I want to make sure that everyone is heard. I plan to play some video footage, and I would like to subtract the time from the support time to include this footage. And colleagues, as you've seen in the council file, the commission rejected the designation, but their stated reasoning included that the proceeds of this property would go to the foundation, which does great work. No one could argue with that. But this is not what's before us today. A designation does not prevent the Hope Foundation from selling the property, from making substantial profit, and from creating an opportunity for the owners to cut their property taxes in half through the Mills Act. I initiated this discussion of historic designation because I thought it is important that we actually have a discussion prior to the demolition of the buildings on this property. At this time, I want to point to my colleagues to my motion, which is before you today. In my motion, I move that the council not approve the recommendation of the Cultural Historic Commission and instead approve the partial designation of the estate as a historic cultural monument, limiting to the original 2-acre parcel and the exterior of the main residence. Council President, I would now like to move to public comment, starting with 5 minutes for those who oppose the designation.
Okay, what I think we'll do, in fairness, I'm going to go 8 minutes and 8 minutes, if that's okay with you. Mr. City Attorney?
Yes, and for the property owner, we'll give her extra time, 3 minutes. I know that we've taken comments before, as the council member stated. We're also very close to not having a quorum, so we do have to, as a matter of practicality, limit the amount of time.
Okay. So let us start off with...
Opposition?
Okay, we have Bob Kurtgiani. And I might have mispronounced it. Craig Strong, Andre Land, Lynn Lipman, and let's start off like that.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of City Council.
We're going to go 1 minute each. Go ahead, sir.
Got it. Good to go. Good morning, Mr. President, members of City Council. My name is Bob Kirkston. I'm the Executive Director of the Bob Hope USO. We are the USO that serves most of Southern and Central California. Each year, more than 100,000 troops and their families pass through our doors right here at LAX alone, along with the other 7 counties we serve. I am representing the charitable organizations today. Behind me include members and leadership from Easter Seals, Midnight Mission, Ronald McDonald House, and the Good Shepherd Shelter, all of whom receive charitable givings from the Bob and Dolores Hope Foundation that is directly impacted by the amount of money and the assets to be available to be sold into the foundation. I absolutely agree with the councilman. Bob Hope is a legend, along with his wife, and I would like to propose to you all that we support his legacy and honor him by adhering to his wishes and allowing the full property to be sold. It will benefit members of the military, veterans, homeless, and children
Thank
in all
you.
of your districts.
If I could
Thank
get
you,
the
Mr. President.
next speaker, please. We want to not waste time. Yes, sir. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Craig Strong. I'm the real estate agent representing the property. I just wanted to clear a few rumors up. I had many conversations with David Rue, who seems to think that we have offers on this property. We have interested parties. We have developers ready to jump at this and build 19-plus homes. Just wanted to say that is not the case. And now, for some reason, I'm hearing that now we're building condos there and now a beauty salon's going in. So let's just clear the air that we have nothing on the table. We have no offers. We have people that are interested, but that's not an offer, David. And they're interested if this property is not designated. If there is an historian out there, let him buy the property, let him designate it himself. The issue with our neighborhood, I think, is more about density than it is about designation. And I think we should focus on that instead of hiding behind a designation. That's just my feeling on that as someone who's lived in Toluca Lake for 15 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. I'm Lynn Littman. I've been a friend of Linda Hope's for 40 years. I'd just like to say that in this time of complete turmoil and confusion in our country, one of the few things that we can rely upon is the integrity of our last will and testament, whether we're alive or dead. To this point, it seems quite clear that Mr. Hope's wishes were that the property be sold and that the proceeds go to do the good work that he really believed in and that he dedicated his career to. I find it ironic that at the time at which this effort seems to be pretending to honor Mr. Hope, indeed what you're doing is violating him. And I find that quite offensive and unfortunate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning, Council. I'm taking the place of the next speaker. I'm Mike Arnold, President and CEO of the Midnight Mission.
No. Well, you know what? I see you. I will call you, but let me go with...
You'll let me talk?
I've got to do this right. So I have Lynn Littman, Larry Pressman. No. I didn't call you, Tim. Yes, sir. I didn't call you. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you. Nice to see you as well. My name is Larry Pressman. I've known Linda Hope for a long time. I have met Mrs. Hope. And I think that given Mr. and Mrs. Hope's long commitment to the military, I believe that the Hope's wishes that their foundation benefit veterans who are living and needy is the best way to honor Mr. and Mrs. Hope's lives and their desire to give back. Living people are more important than monuments. People, not politics. I strongly oppose the designation.
Okay, Mr. Do I have a Josh and do Andre? Mr. McCosker?
Sir, when we heard that we were limited in such a finite amount of time, we reordered our cards so folks would be able to speak for groups. And so this has really taken us out of our presentation and deprives us of an opportunity to speak.
Take advantage of the time that you have now. See how quickly you are on your feet.
Will the owner get the 3 minutes that was discussed at the head of this presentation?
Yes.
Then I will speak. Council members, this is not a local issue. This is not a local issue for which you turn to a member and say, how do I vote? This is a much broader issue in at least several respects. One is, what is the cultural heritage ordinance about? If a council member is allowed to introduce the motion, which is fine, and it goes to the CHC and it goes to the public, what is the meaning of the CHC hearing? What is the meaning of the public participation, which has all been for not designating the property? If, in fact, what you are telling us today is that any one council member can designate the property and you lend their vote to him and there is no cause for evidence and there is no cause for findings, then say that. Amend the code and say that any one of you can designate a piece of property, because what we have in this case is clear bias, and there are a couple of letters on the record. What we have is a member who, before a quasi-judicial hearing, which this is supposed to be, a member who went out to the public, went to the media, and said, this is my vote.
Thank you. Thank you. So if I could have Char
I urge you to
come
vote no.
forward. Thank you.
Good morning, City Council. Charni Patibanda with Glazer Weil. I'd like to make a few clarifications. In a letter that was submitted to you today, there are quotations from the Cultural Heritage Commissioners who discussed all of the evidence presented to them, including the staff report, weighed the options, weighed the evidence, and made findings based on that evidence. I believe one commissioner stated that the property did not rise to the level for significance. Another one said they could not see how a designation made sense when the property was not public and relevant in that way. In addition, we submitted a letter to you yesterday. This is a quasi-judicial matter. The Superior Court has already ruled on this, and that case actually also involved a historical monumentation application to a specific property. Therefore, bias is, as decision makers, is not a part of this process and impermissible under the code. We ask that Mr. Rue recuse himself from this in order to have a fair and impartial hearing for the Bob and Dolores Hope Foundation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if I can have Tony Montalto. Tony, please come forward.
Good day. I'm Anthony Montalto, co-trustee of the Dolores Hope Trust, who owns the estate in Toluca Lake. I also serve as executive director, CFO, and board member of the foundation. I worked with the Hopes for over 30 years as a trusted advisor until their passing. They did not want the Moore Park estate to be memorial to them. Bob and Dolores told us, sell it at best value with 100% of the proceeds given to our foundation, which they created so that the Hope's legacy of service would last forever. The foundation has a clear and simple mission to help those in need and serve to protect this country. Dolores Hope's words to us were, "Let those we help say, when I was hungry, you gave me to eat. When I was homeless, you opened your doors. When I was naked, you gave me clothes. We request that you do not vote to designate any portion of this site as historical, so that it be sold at the full and highest value, enabling us to fulfill the wishes of Bob and Dolores Hope."
Thank you. Sir? Sir.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. Mike Arnold, CEO and President of the Midnight Mission. We've been proud to be a partner of the Bob and Dolores Hope Foundation for many, many years. We're able to use their funding to feed and clothe people, and then we use our own resources to connect with those people and connect them to resources and ultimately end their homelessness. Since the Great Recession, Los Angeles has lost over $1 billion of philanthropy here locally. The designation of the Hope House as a monument is going to reduce the funds that's available for their good work. What that means is money that is a result of a yes vote on this is going to take food out of the mouths of people who are homeless and clothing, and not make clothing available to them. It's an unremarkable house. There's nothing that would support monument designation, so we're all perplexed by this, but thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you. And before, what I'm going to do, I'm going to listen now to those that support it, and then I'm going to call up Ms. Hope prior to the council's conversation. So I think I have Roy Disney, Tim Grayson, Amy Gray, Cynthia Wexler. Please come forward to the center aisle. Please come on up and identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Amy Gray. Unlike some of the people on this side of the aisle who do not reside in Toluca Lake, most of these people do, and we have for 24 years. Mr. and Mrs. Hope raised their family in Toluca Lake and made Toluca Lake the iconic village that it is today. Linda Hope has determined that the Hope homestead is of no value to the community, and we couldn't disagree more. The beautiful, mature, and gorgeous grounds reflected Mr. and Mrs. Hope, their accomplishments, their love for the valley, and specifically Toluca Lake. The home is on some of the most stunning undeveloped land in the valley. While the Hopes were alive, the lot across the street remained vacant, which afforded them much-needed privacy. Since they have have sadly departed, the lot has been developed into hideous, nondescript big box homes, which could be in any development in any county in America. With the rapidly declining sentimental value of historic communities, we need to stop the overdevelopment, and that is exactly what would happen if the land is sold to finance Linda's foundation.
Thank you. So, sir, come on. We don't have a lot of time. Come on up and identify yourself.
Hello, my name is Tim Grayson. I live on Moore Park Street, 100 yards west of Bob Hope's house for the last 11 years. I participated in a lot of his activities with his Halloween gifts that they would give out to the kids and everything else like this. He considered himself a great member of the community. And one thing, too, Bob Hope was not just an actor. He was considered a great American. Most people don't realize that he was an immigrant, this guy. He came to this country. His father was a stonemason. His mother was a light opera singer, but she was a house cleaner. Came to this country as an immigrant and turned into a big superstar, hosting the Academy Awards 19 times and being considered a great American. And had 3 American presidents come over to his house. So as doing the right thing and a message to immigrants everywhere, I ask City Council to use that place as a monument to every immigrant that's coming to this country and preserve this property. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Council. My name is Tema Louise Saul. I moved into Toluca Lake with my mom and my dad on my 5th birthday, April 27th, 1992, which is still the best birthday gift that I've had till this day. Toluca Lake is a hidden gem, a community, and a family, and everyone knows each other. We're all connected with each other because Toluca Lake means home, and home is where the heart is. From the greatest trick-or-treating memories to the nativity scene on display during Christmas, the Bob Hope Estate is a part of Toluca Lake history. And on July 27, 2003, when Bob Hope passed, I was driving to summer camp, and I remember hearing on the radio. And I drove by his estate, and I was saddened, but I still know that with his estate, we still have a lot of history to preserve. And as a long-term resident of Toluca Lake, a comedian and an entertainer, we must preserve the Bob Hope Estate so that future generations are reminded of our history. And with Bob Hope's signature on his sippy cups, we thanks for the memories. Please help us preserve those memories. Thanks for the memories. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm looking for Cynthia Wexler and Marky Post. If I call you, just come on and get in line. Okay, identify yourself.
I'm Cynthia Wexler.
Okay.
Is it okay if I go now?
Go right ahead.
All right. I've lived in Toluca Lake for 20 years. From the first day I came into the neighborhood, actually moved to California, it was always, where's Bob Hope's house? Bob Hope lives here. I have a dear friend and neighbor, Andy Garcia, who asked me to read this. He says, Mr. Hope's legacy is like no other as it relates to American history, not only in the entertainment industry, but his dedication and commitment to our country and specifically the armed forces, which he entertained unselfishly for years. I have fond memories of seeing Bob Hope in the parking lot at the Vons. He would always say hi. My children went to his home for Halloween, as other people said, and got the knickknacks. Toluca Lake is a village of estates, property, homes, families. And it has a special feeling of suburbia in a large city. And this is mostly due to Bob Hope and what he did for our village and how he helped create it, maintain it, and bring people to it. So I ask that you please preserve it.
Thank you. Please come forward, identify yourself.
My name is Marky Post. I've lived in Toluca Lake for over 30 years. And I just want to say the last thing I want to be is on the other side of the Hope family because we respect and love Bob Hope so much and we know about his philanthropy and we support that. The house will, of course, be sold. There will be lots of profits on those 5 acres. But what we're asking and saying is that we are a village. Bob Hope was the titular mayor of our village, and we want to maintain the integrity of where we live now. And I know that the last thing that Bob Hope would have wanted is to turn it into another cul-de-sac, into another suburbia. We are a gem. We are a tiny little village, and we loved Bob Hope. We have our own 4th of July parade, which is a walking parade, and the Cordays always hire a quartet of brass players, and one year when we knew Bob Hope was sick, we had them go over there and play God Bless America, and we got the word out that he heard us and thanked us. We loved him, and we want to preserve his home.
Thank you. Okay, I'll probably have enough for a couple of more speakers, so I think I have Eduardo Braniff and Austin Bergquist. And, sir, come on. You're next.
Thank you. My name's Roy Patrick Disney. I live in Toluca Lake. My family has more than 80 years in that community. Let me just say that the neighborhood is emotionally very divided on this, but politics with a small p means talking together and compromising.
Hold on, Mr.
Yes,
Disney. I want to say this. Mr. Herman, I've received 3 complaints about you bothering other members that are here today to deal with very important issues, not foolishness. If you don't behave, I will ask you to leave. So that's your second warning. So you got 1 warning too many. Restart his time.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
I'll carry on. All of Toluca Lake knew this day would come and that the property would be sold and split up, and we all dreaded it. Progress is both blind and inevitable. It pulverizes everything in its path, with no regard to the past or even the present. Let me be very clear that we are not opposed to progress. We're not NIMBYs who lay down in front of bulldozers. We do not suggest, what we do suggest is something more positive. We believe that intelligence can be applied to progress so that everyone can win here. The Hope Estate can make their charitable gift, developers can inject their own sense of style into our community, and the community itself can live with the impact and the cacophony of those developments. This man created a legacy that should be should be honored. Progress is inevitable. Intelligent and well-considered progress can still be had here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good morning. I'm Eduardo Braniff, and I'm here to defend an icon. The Bob Hope home is an icon of a beloved Hollywood legend. For a neighborhood that thrives because of Bob Hope, his family, and his home. It is an icon of the built environment, architecture, and design, and one of the history of Hollywood, Los Angeles, and California. Our icons matter. They show us where we've come from, and they guide us to where we are going. And they are not to be sacrificed without great care, great discussion, some compromised, and robust agreement. I'm also here to support those who will continue to benefit from the foundation and their very important work, which under the proposed compromise will still receive proceeds from any sale or development of the property. I'm here to support saving the Bob Hope home for Toluca Lake and all of us. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You're the last speaker.
Good morning. I'm Austin Bergquist. I'm representing Charles Cusimano, a longtime resident of Toluca Lake. These are his thoughts. As a very concerned Toluca Lake homeowner, I deeply oppose the idea of designating the Bob and Dolores Hope property at 10350 Moore Park as a historical landmark or any other property use limiting designation. As a 44-year resident, I can say with authority the Hope property has never had any historical or cultural significance in this neighborhood. The property has always been maintained so you cannot see any architecture or dwellings from the street, nor can you see the yard or landscaping. Frankly, it's been and remains an eyesore. The outward appearance of the property can best be described as ill-appearing, ivy-covered wall. It's a visually foreboding estate sequestered from view by creeping vines and hedges. We would prefer to see the site set back to allow street widening on Ledge Street, which would make the intersection of Ledge and Moore Park safer. The lot should be split up into perhaps 5 conforming 1-acre lots, which would allow for...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if I could now request that Ms. Hope want to come forward. No, wait. No hollering. I got 8 minutes on both sides. Your 8 minutes are gone. They used their 8. Ms. Hope, please come forward.
Thank you, Councilman. I ask you all again to uphold the CHC's decision. Mr. Rue told me he needed time to talk to the community about my parents' home. He said he needed their input on this designation of private property. Well, we've all been to several meetings, and we've all heard the community loud and clear. The Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council voted to reject the designation because my parents didn't want it, and because the CHC found it not to be significant in the way the law requires. I ask that you all adopt the CHC's position not to designate my parents' home in a way that they never wanted and in a way that hurt their foundation. My parents cared very much for those in need, and we ask that you do not deprive our foundation of much-needed funds to help those suffering and those that serve to protect our country. I also want to clarify that the designation will decrease the value of that property. Unlike rumors that have been spread about, we, the Hope Foundation and the trustees of the Dolores Hope Trust, have absolutely no intention of overbuilding that area, and the confusion in people's minds that have been put about by members of the opposition and by the councilman are wrong. He has persistently confused in people's minds the density question, which is a whole other issue, and the question of whether this should be a tribute to Bob Hope. Dad wanted, above anything else, to give back to the people that were responsible for his success. He did that at the Halloween time. He had little things made which people showed. And he cared about people. He cared about his neighbors. But because he cared, he asked that the proceeds from the sale be put into his foundation so that people can be his living legacy, not an old building that is in need of repair and not worth anything. If Toluca Lake wants to honor Bob Hope, let them put something in along the divide on Riverside Drive or someplace else that will show the impact that Hope had on Toluca Lake. I thank you all very much for your attention and appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk and Mr. City Attorney, I'm going to close the public hearing on this matter. Mr. Root.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for all those comments. Thank you, Linda Hope. Thank you, Mr. Roy Disney. Thank you, everyone from Toluca Lake. And at this time, we would like to show some special footage. If we could play the video.
Really, nothing left to say. He is an American institution. And this Sunday, January the 18th, his all-star anniversary tribute, 30 years. Television comedy will be on NBC from 9 to 11. Would you welcome Bob Hope?
Came over to me, he said, could you let me have $48 for a cup of coffee? And I said, $48 for a cup of coffee's only a nickel. And the guy said, yeah, but you don't expect me to drink it in this old suit.
What's the difference between you and an idiot?
Well, for one thing, you don't have a mustache.
The LA Conservancy looks for the stories of Los Angeles with the Bob and Dolores Hope House. It's one of the few star homes that are really left. And this is the house where he lived when he was a star. And so it's important to tell that story of Hollywood, of people coming here with a dream and being able to make that dream happen.
Bob and Dolores Hope lived their lives here, and the estate's property manager says they had plenty of company and not just celebrities.
Politicians, presidents have been here. The Reagans were here. The first George Bush was here. President Nixon landed Marine One on the lawn. Historically, I can't think of a house that's in this part of the world that has that much of a legacy to it.
You're talking about a home that was built in 1939, and he occupied till his death. It has entertained a who's who of Hollywood, from Sinatra and Dean Martin to kings and queens to Ronald Reagan.
I was in the home in the 70s, and I saw all the pictures of all the presidents, including President Kennedy, and just all, regardless of what side of the aisle they were on in his stand and on his piano. So a lot of great moments.
I think that location of the Bob and Dolores estate has significant value. I can't drive by it without thinking about history, without thinking of Bob and Dolores.
I do believe that the Bob and Dolores estate is historic for many reasons. I think it is an integral part of the neighborhood. My kids know about Bob Hope and all the good work he's done because of that house.
People love Bob Hope and love what he did for our armed forces and for this country, and it's he's historic and he's an icon that shouldn't be forgotten.
I walk every morning, and every morning I've taken upon myself for the last week, to stop people on the street and ask them what they think also. Are they interested in preserving the property? And I haven't found one person that said tear it down. Not one. Everyone feels that property has significant value, and it's part of Toluca.
It's not just dirt and four walls and a roof. There's a whole legacy of a tremendous man and a tremendous family that's associated with this property. No one has lived in this house except Bob and Dolores Hope and their kids.
When you're an innovator and you get old, people forget that you were an innovator, and there's a whole generation of people that just remember Bob Hope as, didn't he used to do some shows for the soldiers or something, and they forget. I mean, he's probably the greatest American entertainer of the 20th century.
Thanks for the compliment of coming on my show. And just before you go, I give you this, a tender kiss. It's more valuable than dough. And I thank you so much.
Mr. Root.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, colleagues. And at this time, if I could have all the Toluca Lake residents and war veterans here in support of the historic designation to stand. Thank you so very much for coming. You guys could say thank you. And, I want to again reiterate that this designation does not prevent the Hope Foundation from selling this property and donate 100% of its proceeds to the foundations and make a substantial profit. And again, as I've stated at numerous community meetings in Toluca Lake, this is not about development. This is about historic preservation. And by any objective analysis, the Hope family home meets and exceeds the criteria for historic cultural designation, and this is the only issue before the legislative body today. Yes, there are many other things named after Bob Hope, previously the airport, a square, but the difference is that he actually lived here during the entire period of his prolific career. Colleagues, before you in the blue folder is a copy of the staff report given to the Cultural Heritage Commission, planning staff had recommended that all 5 acres and the structures be deemed historic. However, my motion here today moves that we deem only the original 2 acres and the family home only. Let's review the facts and findings that support the determination the Hope Estate successfully meets the criteria of being identified with historic personage or with important events in the main, current, or national, state, or local history. This is the exact language of the ordinance. Point number 1. In the report, the home was custom built for Bob and Dolores Hope in 1939 and was his primary residence for the entirety of his Hollywood career and his efforts on behalf of the U.S. veterans. Point number 2. The home was designated by noted architect Robert Finkelhauer, commissioned by the Hopes themselves, and it was then expanded by John Elgin Wolfe, who was known for his Hollywood Regency style and who also designed for Errol Flynn, Mae West, Greta Garbo, and Katharine Hepburn. And many of the subsequent alterations over time were designed by the Hopes themselves. Point number 3. Bob Hope was internationally known American entertainer whose career spanned 80 years, during almost all which he lived in this home. He has been proclaimed the entertainer of the 20th century and hosted the Oscar 18 times. There are very, very few homes that are entirely associated with one icon for the life of the entire property, and this is the case of this home. Having read the staff report, having letters from the community, and yesterday having even visited the home, I am convinced that this estate is historic. However, I want you to all vote your conscience based off the information before you. And I implore and urge all my colleagues for an aye vote. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. So, Mr. City Attorney, explain to us what's what.
Yes. So we have a recommendation from the Historic Commission that was to not designate it. In order to override that, 10 votes will be required. If there are not 10 votes, it will not have the designation, and the recommendation of the Historic Commission will apply.
All right, then we will call for the vote. Let us open the roll.
So, in order to override the recommendation of the Historic Commission to not designate the property, 10 votes would be required. If we don't get 10 votes, the property will not be designated by this council.
And for clarification, it would be a change, a compromise of 2 acres, not the entire 5, as asked for as recommended by the planning department.
Yeah, so just to be clear, there is an amending motion, 6A, which was posted and circulated that the council member talked about when he teed this up, and it's to approve a partial designation of the estate, as you mentioned.
Just the 2 acres and the outer structure.
Okay, let's, again, now that that's been explained, let us open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
8 ayes, 2 noes.
Okay, that did not pass. All right, let's move on to the next item. I could get Ms. Martinez for a moment.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we're going to go on to speakers. Mr. Daniel Gus, are you here? Come on up, please. Mr. Gus, I'm going to remind you of the items that you filled out a card for. Of course, you have your general public comment, but you also filled out cards for items number 1,
Everyone.
2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Go ahead, sir.
Right. It was everyone. Oh, boy, that was such a charade. Absolutely a charade. Council members, I find it curious on item 1 that the 4 colleagues on City Council who are facing the toughest elections suddenly have a huge lack of items on item number 1. How can it be that the council members who were not endorsed by the LA Times in Mr. Cedillo's district, district number 1, there's not one item in item number 1? How can that be? The council member from District 9 only has 2. Mr. Koretz only has 1. And Mr. O'Farrell, who the LA Times ripped the other day, he has no items on item number 1. So that's what happens at LA City Council. When your campaign is in trouble, suddenly you're going to put few, if any, items, to put liens on few, if any, items. How can that be? You're allowing the LA Times and your floundering campaigns for Mr. Cedillo, Mr. Koretz, Mr. Price, and Mr. Englander suddenly aren't placing liens on properties that are supposed to have liens. How does that happen a week prior to the primary? And yes, it's on topic, it's on topic. I'm talking about item number 1 and the incredible lack of properties with liens by the council members whose campaigns and careers on city council are in tremendous jeopardy. You're not doing the city's business as it needs to be done. You're allowing the Times and floundering re-election campaigns to influence item number 1 in property liens. Regarding number 9, Mr. Curran Price is not here today. Well, Mr. Price, and I'll get to him in general public comment, is married to a woman named Dell Richardson.
Madam President, number 9 is not an item you signed up for.
I sure did. I chose every item today.
Well, Mr. Gus, if you can hold his time, you didn't seem to have filled out a card for 9. We don't have
every
it
item.
here.
I chose every item. Your kiosk has trouble.
And
oh, you know what, sir?
It's
Public comment was satisfied for number 9.
Is that
Go
so?
ahead, resume his time.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, all right. Good
Thank
enough,
you.
good enough. That's fair. You see, I can be fair, so I'll go back to number 1. How is it that council members whose campaigns are floundering, Mr. Cedillo, Mr. Englander, Mr. Koretz, Mr. Price, suddenly have a grand total of 3 liens a week before the primary? Don't allow your campaigns and your careers to influence city business. If a property is due a lien, put a lien on it. Because you know right after the primary, if there's going to be a general with those council members, those liens will flow again. Hello, Mr. Harris Dawson. Nice suit today. All right, on to general public comment. Council members, Daniel Gus, speaking for myself, I have the number 1 most read article on City Watch LA today about Mr. Curran Price. It appears that Mr. Price may be married to 2 women simultaneously. I see some smiles around there. Now, you know that bigamy is a felony, as is perjury. So the question is, has Mr. Price told you, as I cautioned you prior to my article on citywatchla.com, where my article is number 1 most read this morning, LA's bigamy mystery. Where is Mr. Price today? Can Mr. Price please come here and tell us, did he ever divorce his first wife before marrying his second wife? Did he hide assets on his Form 700? There is another article coming. You had better ask Mr. Price what is going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Madam Clerk, is Herman. Armando Herman, you filled out cards for general public comment. Item 1, items 2, 3, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Go ahead.
Good evening. Now that we're running late into the morning, as I had to take off my hoodie to represent the liens, and let me put it down on the record very politely. Hearing, protests, and appeals or objecting the fucking building and safety department for fucking reports and fucking confirmations of fucking liens on fucking nuisance of fucking abatements, cost, and non-compliance of fucking code violations on annual fucking inspections. Why don't you pay attention to your constituents? Because lien after lien, for example, in CD9, located at 1612 East 24th Street, a.k.a. 1610 East 24th Street, a $2,000 lien. What the fuck's going on with these liens, Mr. Price? You're not even here to listen. Here's another one, Mr. Price. 230 West Gage Avenue, a lien for $624. Well, I'm here to say, forgive and forget. You did not send a registered letter on behalf of your constituents to excuse them and forgive them the 300% brought by Mr. Charles, Department of, there he is back there, liens. And going forward, now let me go on, Mr. Rookie Attorney. Yeah, I'm going on to the next page. Give me time. Give me time, motherfucker. Item number 10, CD9. Communication from the fucking economic and fucking workforce fucking development department relative to the fucking selling of promissory. Kind of sounds like the Bob Hope promissory, huh? Isn't that fucked up? Let me finish. Relative selling on October 7, 2008, secured by the property located at 6800 South fucking Avalon Boulevard. There you go. That's how we speak in protest on our First Amendment, our 14th Amendment, and our Fifth Amendment. When it comes down to the business for the people. Now, item number 13, the little bitch, Englander, CD12, relative to extending the fucking time to act on the fucking application and relative fucking appeal for the property located at West Roscoe. I don't need to put a fucking address because you fucking already fucking know that this problem on the boulevard of Northridge, California, for the record, 91325 is a zip code. Stop fucking with the zoning map and leave us a fuck alone with these issues. General public comment?
Just 1 minute.
So you heard, where is Price? 2 wives and he can't even separate himself from the truth and the facts? Perjury, like you heard, Wesson, a fucking perjury with Wayne Spindler. And once again, Anaheim Mayor Tom Tate, T-A-I-T for the record, would say, I am deeply disturbed and frankly angered by the encounter of the officer from LAPD, Kevin Ferguson, with a child. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Endangerment occurs when persons engage in a conduct that persons put children in imminent danger of death, bodily injury, or physical and mental impairment. You see? I'm right. Fucking Ferguson and LAPD need to get their fucking shit together and stop putting children's lives at danger.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, right, motherfucker.
No, anyway, Mr. Herman is disrupting the meeting. No, you're disrupting the meeting. Mr. Herman, sergeants, take him out of the meeting right now. Mr. Herman, please exit the facility. It's my understanding now we can vote on items 10, 11, 12, and 13. So let's on those items.
And just for the record, Mr. Herman is continuing to make noise as he's leaving.
No, he's still disrupting the meeting. Help him find his way out. Okay, let's prepare to vote. He's still disrupting, just for the record.
As he is leaving, he's
And
continuing,
he's
to shout
continuing to
all the
disrupt.
way out the door and preventing us from doing our business.
Okay, let's prepare to vote on those items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, we're going to take general public comment now.
And Mr. President, as the speakers come forward, there are requests to continue 1A and 1K to March 29th and item 1N to March 21st.
Okay, so without objection, that'll be the order. So if I can have Jason Cooper, Jean, last name begins with a B, Alfred Ibera, Murray Brian Crum, just come forward and please come forward. Forward if I've called your name. Could somebody? What about?
I was here a few years ago after Eric Garcetti was elected mayor. I said that I wasn't really the mayor, even though some people called me Mr. Mayor. I said some people even say that I'm City Hall, like some person named Hall that takes up the city, and I'm not that either. My real name is Murray Crum. I was a student at UCLA in 1991 for 2 quarters. I dropped out because I couldn't stay awake. I have a problem called narcolepsy. It's a neurological problem. It's not a psychiatric or mental problem. I don't have any psychiatric problems. I was misdiagnosed. Now, Eric Garcetti put out a comment, like instead of making some comment like eat your heart out, he said play your heart out, like I'm playing some kind of a game, and I'm not. I'm not playing any games. Like someplace at Ackerman Student Union at UCLA, I was never a member of the student union, but they have an internet cafe called Game On. And they think I'm playing a game. I'm not playing games. I used it maybe once or twice to use a computer because I don't have a computer of my own.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now are there any other public, general public comment speakers here? Please come forward and identify yourself. Yes, sir.
My name is Jason Cooper, and this comment is for Mr. Krikorian. Please, sir, at your convenience, we need you to work with the MTA to find a solution to the lack of public restrooms at the North Hollywood Red Orange Line station. There is only one green kiosk-type public restroom there that is broken down more than half the time and is a disaster when it's open. And the other restroom is across the street at the Gourmet Coffee Shop, and that's for customers only. The North Hollywood Red Orange Line station is a major transportation hub that demands adequate public restrooms. This problem is unconscionable to have gone on for this long. How much longer before government officials stop talking about making changes to improve the quality of life and actually do it? With what City Council makes in salary comes the obligation to find solutions, not excuses. Please make the change. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Please come forward. Identify yourself.
I apologize. My name is Yves Misala. I don't even know if this is the correct place here right now.
What is this on? Liens?
Council file number 16.
Okay, then. I do not believe this is the right place. Why don't you let me take the public comment and we'll find out. Could someone go? Could someone find out exactly what he wants?
Thank you. The corrupted,
Identify yourself.
It's
on file. The corrupted and unethical pandering pussies, Mike Fuhrer in the Los Angeles Housing and Community Investment Department, and the defunct Mayor Eric Garcetti. Please don't vote for him. We, the taxpayers, demand that these treacherous and inefficient, not to mention unlawful and conniving entities and agencies are recklessly enjoying and spending our money, especially when there is gross corruption, deception, misappropriation of funds, and outright fraud. What the city attorney should be drafting is an ordinance in the spirit of the Constitution, and that is to sanction all owners who rent to violent, diabolical, wicked, nasty, uncivilized, jealous, and nosy come-caca, racist, hate-mongering wetbacks, and chango Latino gang-banging pigs, pussies, and thieves. Again, these reptilian lizards pose problems. They are a public safety nuisance. They are violating the spirit of and the quality of life of all American people, not to mention all our middle-class America and our beloved American veterans.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Richardson, you didn't fill out a card? You okay? All right. Now we're going to go to item 2. And I think that's what you wanted to speak to, sir. Take your time. Yes, and
you want me now?
Yep, this is item 2. This is the item I believe you wanted to speak on.
Yes. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have provided a package with a survey on my property showing piles on 9277 Thrush Way. There's a 4-foot wide sewer easement running along the western side of 9277 Thrush Way. If you look on the survey, one pile is well into the sewer easement already. I'm on a 60-year-old septic tank. There's a hookup on Kinglet Drive, but I would have to pump the sewage uphill. It's better for waste to flow downhill. If you grant this vacation, 5B LLC, which is the developer, will completely destroy my sewer easement. 5B has already destroyed my gas easement, which ran through 9277 Thrush Way. The architect tag front is being served with a cross-complaint by one of the defendants in the 3 lawsuits that we are in right now as we speak. I would like to keep the city of Los Angeles out of these 3 lawsuits. However, if this vacation is granted, the city will most certainly be an additional defendant. We strongly object to this vacation.
Thank you. So if I could have the other speaker on this item. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Murray Misala, and my husband and I live at 9246 Kinglet. Our sewer easement has existed since the subdivision was created prior to 1955. The architect was aware of this easement, and we know there are sewer connections on Kinglet, but then we would have to install sewer ejection pumps, and wastewater should flow downhill. There is another sewer easement on the other side of 9277 Thrush, benefiting our neighbor at 9250 Kinglet. Once the city grants the vacation, even with reserving the easement, the developer will continue with its destruction. There's a pile that's already encroaching on the easement. The city has been put on notice by our attorney, and the developer's attorney has responded, and that is in the package that my husband gave to you. This developer continually interferes with other people's easements. They have ripped out a gas easement, our gas
Thank
easement.
you. Thank you. Mr. Rue.
Can we continue this for 2 weeks? This is the first time I'm hearing about this, so I'd like to continue
Okay,
for 2
so
weeks.
what we will do is we'll have to continue that
3 weeks.
3
Because of the
weeks
recess.
till March 21st, which will afford you an opportunity to speak with representatives from Mr. Rue's office to see if we can work that out. Okay? So that item is continued. Okay, let's move to items 3 and 4. It's my understanding we can just vote on those.
And Mr. President, on item 4, an amending motion has been posted and circulated for consideration.
Yes.
And just for the record, it's a non-substantive motion for a report back. We don't need to take further comment.
Thank you. So on that item, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, so that brings us where? Item 1. Is Russell Levy still here? I don't see him. Mr. Levy. Do we have a Haran Benitez? Haran Benitez? Well, let's prepare to vote now on. Let's vote now on item 1. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, do you have any more business before this council?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
They are posted, they are referred. Announcements. Then if all could rise for adjourning motions. Okay, I'm looking to my left side. I don't see any. Now I'm looking to the right. With that, this meeting is adjourned.